Welcome to Shedding the Shame. I'm your host, Tami Wong. This is where women stop whispering about the hard things. No performing, no fixing, no pretending we're fine. Just honest conversations about what we've carried, what it cost us, and how we rebuilt. You don't need a perfect story. You just need the courage to tell the truth. You are not broken. You are not dramatic. And you are not alone. Let's shed the shame. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Shedding the Shame. I'm here today with Emily Shea. Emily is the founder of Flox Hair, a luxury hair brand specializing in wigs and toppers for women experiencing hair loss. After facing her own journey with hair loss, Emily turned her struggle into purpose, creating natural, confidence-restoring hair solutions and a supportive space for women to feel like themselves again. Through Flox Hair, she combines expert craftsmanship with deep empathy, helping clients reclaim not just their hair, but their confidence. And I am also really happy and proud and excited that you're in Canada because there are not as many wig brands in Canada. And I've known about you obviously for a while, but it's nice to have brands that we can count on and that provide good quality products here in Canada. So thank you for joining me today.
Not as much, right? But it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started looking, I was surprised by how many I found because I hadn't heard of them before because they don't have as much of the marketing behind them. I don't know what it is, but I found a great number of brands here and you were one of them. So thank you for being with me today. I'm excited to talk through everything, and we're going to talk about a little bit, of everything. We're going to talk about hair loss. We're going to talk about mental health, fitting in, all these type of things. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
So can you take us back to when your hair loss first started and what was going on in your life at the time?
Well, there's no good time, obviously, but the worst time, last year of high school, I had noticed that I had super thick hair. This is what my hair would look like if it would grow. And it was always extremely, extremely thick. And I was noticing it was thinning over time. I was like, I play sports. I pull my hair in tight ponytails all the time. It's probably just from that. No big deal, whatever. And it was my prom hair consultation. Going to a hairstylist I've been to for years and years, family friend kind of thing. And she's just fishing through my hair, trying to make this hairstyle that I wanted so bad to work. And all I remember is her stopping and stepping back and being like, what's going on? And I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And she's like, your hair is so thin back here and it's all up here. And she's like, you need to go to a doctor. What's going on? And I'm taken aback. I'm like, what do you mean? My whole family has extremely thick hair. I've never really noticed it that much. And then I start spiraling. Okay. Then she made my hair work for that. But going to the doctor, getting tested, they just assumed it was thyroid problems because it wasn't that bad, which is what everybody generally hears. It's not that bad. But it probably, from being a young teenager to starting to become a woman, things like that, things are changing and stuff, but I probably had lost about half of the amount of hair that I originally had, and I didn't even realize. Nothing like patches or anything like that, just thinning all over. From there, it was just 10 plus years of back and forth tests, solutions for my head, creams, lotions, pills, everything I was diagnosed with, which was the thyroid, the birth control things, all of these different random concoction of pills that really didn't do anything. I personally believe actually made it worse. Come to find out after taking a pill for 13 years that I wasn't even supposed to be diagnosed with this type of thyroid problem.
What?
And it was just constant fighting back and forth with doctors and things like that. And I was pretty crafty. I could make my hair work and look good and teasing it and hairsprays and all of this stuff. And I made it work. But leaving that salon was just the little tip of the iceberg of my mental health downfall with my hair. It was just like somebody, a little thing in the back of my head being like, something might be wrong with your hair. But then somebody just pushing me off the edge. And it was just nosedive from there of just bad mental health about it, because it became my obsession. That's all I thought about. It's all I looked at. And then it just kept getting worse, right? Because it was androgenic alopecia at the end of the day, but it was a spiral, the beginning of the spiral.
Yeah. And I can totally resonate with that because we are a similar age when hair loss started, and I didn't have anybody pointed out to me like that. And I think if I had, I would have the same reaction because they mean well, but something like that is especially at that time of your life is very triggering in insecurities that we all have anyway. So as you were a teenager and a young adult and
obviously around friends who had hair that was different than yours. How did your hair loss impact your identity and your confidence and your experience versus what you saw your friends doing?
Oh, well, even just rape, even before prom, I remember sitting on what my best friend at the time's bedroom floor, looking in the mirror, and this was to early 2010s, right? So everybody wanted the braids and the hair and the twists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she had the most gorgeous, thick black hair, just beautiful. She probably had enough hair for 10 people. And she'd be doing all these cool twists and stuff. And then she would try to do it on my hair and be like, oh, it looks so thin and sparse. And then again, I was like, oh my God, like nobody's touching my hair. Like nobody's doing my hair. I would stop going to things. I remember that particular girlfriend of mine, and I had signed up to live in residence in university. We were going to the same university. We wanted to live together, and I paid the deposit. I did all of these things, but then I was like, I'm gonna have to shower. I'm gonna have to get ready. I'm gonna have to go to these parties. Doing your hair right out of high school and in university is like a fun part of going out and a fun part of doing things. The getting ready was half of the reason you did these things together,
Totally.
right?
Yes.
And I would skip absolutely everything I could. And I feel like from right out of high school into university was the real shift and noticeable difference of my hair, to the point where I was like, this is very obvious. It's very sparse. It made me feel so ugly. That's the only way I can put it. It's just, it made you feel so ugly no matter what I did. And already having body confidence issues, just add that on top of it. Now looking back, I would kill to have that much hair. And I even kind of judged myself because I'm like, what is wrong with you? You have a decent amount of hair. But at the time, it didn't feel like it. And I scrapped everything with university. I scrapped everything with residence. I lost it on the money for that. I was like, I can't do it. I can't be in a room with girls and have the hair that I have. I can't do it. There was so many other events or things where I knew I'd have to get ready, or trips that I'd be like, oh my God, my hair's going to get sweaty. All of the product that I have in my hair to make it look good, all of that is going to fall out. I can't do that. And even one specific memory I have with my boyfriend, who's now my husband, we had plans to go to a movie and we bought the movie tickets. We had everything. We were getting ready to go. And I just sat on the floor and I bawled because I was like, I can't go out. I can't go out looking like this. And he didn't understand at the time either, because he's looking at me and being like, I don't know what she's talking about. But it was so bad for me that I wouldn't even sit in a dark room with a thought of somebody being able to see the back of my head. So it's just anything and everything I tried to avoid and get out of. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks to think back at those times too. I feel like I've buried them a lot.
Yeah, I think we all have to repress them a bit to get through. I just recorded and released my own like hair loss story this morning, and just thinking back through all of that, yeah, it's hard to remember how much you struggled, and thankfully on the other side. But I think it's hard for people who don't have hair loss to understand that it's so much more than a cosmetic issue, which is what people say all the time. Oh, it's just hair. Oh, it's just hair.
Yeah.
It's not hair. I mean, listening to you talk's perfect example. It affects everything. It affects your self-esteem, your confidence, your ability to show up in relationships and work and parent. And, you know, every relationship you have, everything in your life is affected when you don't feel good about how you look, and when you feel different, and when you feel like something's wrong with you. And it's really devastating and traumatic. And so I talk about that a lot because I think it's so important for people to understand and for doctors to understand. And I know we're going to get into that piece too, because it's trivialized a lot in the medical community too. Well, it's just hair. And no, it's not. It's so much more, and it needs to be treated with the compassion and empathy that it deserves. So, so I know, you know, obviously you're wearing alternative hair now, as am I. And I know you've talked about, you know, your first topper being a huge shift for you. So can you talk about, you know, when that was and how that experience changed things for you?
Yeah, it would have been in my very, very early 20s. I can't remember how old I would have been, probably either 2021 maybe. And I just got so sick and tired of me trying to make my hair work. So I got on Google, and back then social media, it was just slowly up and coming. Like Facebook was the big thing, but businesses weren't really on social media. And it was really hard to find anything other than just like a quick Google search. So I just went with the first thing that came up, and living in a generally small area. I mean, it's a a bigger city now, but it was still a pretty small town. There was only a few options, and there was nothing online to like, is this what I need? I don't even know what I need. She just dealt with hair loss. So I said, yeah, whatever, I'll book the consultation. I told my mom, and I was very private about it. I thought if I told people I'd have to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. So the only people that knew about my issues before I had actually gotten a piece were my mom, because she was trying to help me figure out doctor situations, and my boyfriend, just because I was crying 24/7. So he's like, that's the reason. But when I booked this place, I just showed up. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what toppers were. I didn't know anything about it. Like, I didn't know that there was something I could get. The word wig was not even in my realm. I just thought maybe a new cream, a new something could work. Like, whatever, I'll try anything. And going there, the woman, she saved my life in reality. Looking back, she literally did. As rough of an experience I ended up having, she did save my life. So I have to give her some credit where credit is due. But it felt very much taken advantage of because I didn't know anything and I was in a very desperate state. And I was at the point where I was like, I don't care how much this costs me. If you can fix it, I'll figure out the money and I'll figure out anything. You just tell me what I need to do. And once that happened, she convinced me to get a topper. I'd never seen it. She never showed me one. She had one of her own, which was this tiny, and it was blonde, and my hair is dark brown.
Yeah, not.
And she had just was like, it will look fine. It will be perfect. And I was like, okay, I trust you. Got it. Paid for it and all this stuff. And I left that consultation almost feeling worse.
Yeah.
But knowing that there was a solution for me, but I still felt worse because that's your acceptance. It's going through these stages, right? It's denial, and then you're kind of slowly getting into the acceptance phase of, I need to do something about it. So that's where the consults come in. But once the piece ended up arriving, I thought it looked okay. It wasn't the best. Looking back now, I'm like, oh my God. So those photos.
So was it blonde, the one she sold you?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I think that it was a mismatch of hair that she tried to color to match my hair. It was a mess. And it was my hair, because of whatever was going on in my body, was bone straight. Just nothing into it. It just was bone straight. And this, if I just stepped outside living in a very messed up weathered climate, it just puffed out. It curled. It was a mess. Anyway, I wore it for about 5 to 6 years and I figured out how to make it work.
Yeah.
But it's the feeling of just, it felt like almost buying a car. You know, when you have to buy a new car and you're like, God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go sit there, and I don't want to barter, and I don't want to argue, and they're going to try to sell me something I don't want. I know what I want, but I don't want to do this back and forth. That's really what it felt like to me, was going in to buy a car where I'm like, this is my budget. This is what I think I need. And they're like, no, this is what you need. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And it was just, I mean, like I said, it saved my life. It gave me something to cover the current issue that I had, and I was able to just set it and forget it. And it allowed me to move on with life a little bit. And turns out it ruined my hair worse. But yeah, they were really bad. It was too small, everything about it was wrong. And it just, my actual history of hair loss, and it wasn't that big back then, but to not even really go into what were you diagnosed with? Right. What have you tried before? What about this and this? It was never asked to me. Which is crazy, because what if I had a disease that all my hair was going to fall out? You still were going to sell me something that was going to just clip onto my hair? And it was the same thing with like the products of these companies that would sell me stuff. I'm like, you're telling me 100% chance this is going to grow my hair back, but you don't know what disease I have? Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
It's not a blanket cure for everyone.
No, it's so frustrating.
Well, and sadly, the thing about the topper and her not asking if your hair was going to continue to fall out, that's sadly still happening to women. And I've had women come to me for wig consults after going to a place in Vancouver where they sold her a topper that was too small for the area of thinning she had, and assured her it was the right solution. And she was in that space we've all been in, where you're desperate and you will pay whatever and you will figure it out and you will put it on the credit card and figure it out later, because you need something. And it makes me so mad when women are taken advantage of like that. And these people, the stylists, these wig brand owners, they know better. and they just want the sale. They're not there to do what's best for their client, their customer. And it makes me really angry. And it's usually people who don't have hair loss themselves who are doing that.
Yes.
So I am a big fan of buying from women who have hair loss themselves, who have started brands, because they've been through awful experiences and they want other people to avoid that.
Yeah. I get asked almost weekly if I will train hairstylists, if I will go to salons and offer my products that they can sell. I have turned down, I can't tell you how many, because I just tell them, I personally don't believe you should be selling hair if you don't wear it. I just personally don't. I really don't. And yeah, I'm sure that could make me a whole lot of money, but I just don't want people to get burned. I was burned so many times. And the breaking point for me was just when I needed a new piece. And she sat me down and was like, before I will sell you something new, you have to watch this video. And it was for a $10,000 wig. And I was like, I don't have any money.
Was that the same person who sold you the first one? Wow.
Yeah, it was.
I've seen it, right? Like, you can spend however much money you want to spend on a wig. The price will go up and up and up. You can find a brand that you can spend $10,000 or more. And there's a specific one in New York that I know about. And I'm just like, why? I mean, I'm sure the hair is lovely, but no, there's no way in hell that I'm going to spend that much money, because wigs, a good wig is expensive in itself, but you can tell me all the things about virgin hair, Russian hair, Slavic hair, whatever. When you have to buy a new wig every couple of years, no, that's
I don't
crazy.
agree with it. No,
it's crazy. And it's just taking advantage of women who are in a really low place emotionally. And I can't stand for that. Well, obviously, you start wearing a topper, there's a physical change, but can we talk about internally, emotionally, what changed for you after starting to wear alternative hair?
What I tell my clients is fake it till you make it. And that's kind of how I did it. I pre-warned my friends, and it was an emotional breakdown. And again, I have to accept this and tell people. And I just remember bawling to my best friend and being like, tomorrow I'm going to show up. I'm going to look a little different. I don't want you to say anything about it. Okay. And she's like, what do you mean? And then I just started bawling. And she's like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like, no worries. I probably wouldn't have even noticed. When I did show up that next day, petrified, absolutely petrified, because I'm like, well, now she knows and is going to be looking at it. Right. But I went to a random store that day after that. And it was where nobody would really notice me or know me for any reason. I don't go there. So why would anybody know who I was? And I probably looked crazy because I was walking in there and like staring. They probably thought I was going to rob the place or something. I was like looking around, making sure I'm like, is anybody staring at me? Is anybody noticing? And then you're looking at every reflection you can find. I'm walking into the world, this new version of me, and I'm like, okay, nobody said anything. Who would say anything anyway? Even if they did know. Like,
an ass bag. Yeah.
That's kind of how I dipped my toe into it. And then after that one, I'm like, okay, I played around with it. I could make it work. I'm just going to forget this is even a part of my life. I'm just going to push it way down with all my other problems and bury it and not talk about it for 6 years. And that's kind of what I did. Nobody said anything to me. I'm assuming people knew because of how it looked back then, but family members, my other friends never said anything to me. So it just gave me the freedom to kind of be normal in existence again.
Yeah. And I don't know that people did know, because especially back then, people didn't know what toppers were. No. And they probably were not ever thinking you were wearing a wig. Because I look back at my first wig and I'm like, how did people not know? It looked like a lion's mane. Yeah. I'm not kidding. It was awful. And I didn't like it. I didn't feel comfortable. Kind of like you were saying, I didn't feel confident in it, but I had to deal with it. I paid for it. Yeah. I bought it. I only wore that for a year because it was so bad, but no one ever said anything to me. And then I told a few people and they seemed surprised. And I'm like, how do you think this is my hair? This is so bad.
You think everybody's lying to you. You think everybody's lying.
Yes. But I think, you did like some good things. I tell clients now, like, go somewhere that people don't know you, or go out at night, somewhere where you're not going to worry about the light on it, and just practice wearing it, different places, get used to it, get comfortable with it. Right. And then slowly you start to forget it's there. but, also giving your friends a heads up so they knew, but you knew they wouldn't bother you about it. I think, just knowing you had their support is important. So
it's like I wanted to blend in, but blend in the background. I am not the person to be front and center. I don't love the attention. So as long as I can blend in, but still be behind everybody, that was my goal.
I understand that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm similar. So we spoke a little bit earlier about doctor's offices and advocating. And so can you talk about how important it is for you to advocate for yourself in the medical system, your experience with that, and how that looked for you when you were actually physically sitting in a doctor's office and having to go through all this back and forth?
I have probably seen, oh my God, 20 to 30 different doctors. From dermatologists to things that weren't even related to hair, but they thought maybe that would trigger it. They were really good in the sense that they're like, we'll just cross everything off until we can't cross anything else. My original family doctor was not the nicest man anyway. So anytime I went in there, I was like, oh my God, he's going to give me a hard time about something. When I went there, I got the same answer. I don't know. Doesn't look bad to me. Anything else going on? Well, no, but this is literally ruining my life. What's going on? Do the typical blood work, this, that, and that. And as soon as you get those blood work results back and it says nothing's wrong with you, they just literally look down and go, I don't know.
Yeah, and I can do.
I don't know. We'll send you to this person. So once I started going to all of these specialists and different dermatologists and things like that, and we were slowly ruling things out, when it came down to there's nothing else we can do, if I hear one more doctor go, don't know, it's probably just hair loss, get a wig. That is the line that every single dermatologist will say to somebody. And it just is like a knife to the chest.
It is.
One, the word wig is the worst thing to say to somebody going through hair loss, regardless how fabulous it is or not. And I would never,
because it's terrifying because you don't know at the time what it's, you think of about the worst wig you've ever seen in your life. And that's what you think.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to live in a costume for the rest of my life. And what do you mean get a wig? And what even is a wig? That's not an answer, for one.
No.
And two, just to diminish the fact that like you're even there to question if there's something wrong medically. Because like now I see so many clients that just have very thin, fine hair. Like there's no patching or anything like that. I'd say that is more common than anything. And I'll ask them, like, have you been to the doctor? And they'll be like, well, no. But why not? Go to see if there's something wrong first. And they're like, well, they're just going to tell me it's not that bad. And the fact that we are already preconditioned that a doctor is going to be offended that we're asking a medical question, it's insane to me. But it's advocating for yourself in the sense, don't let them make you feel small about having a concern that your hair is falling out or that your hair is thinning. It isn't normal.
No.
And you shouldn't feel bad about asking about it. And that's just getting I don't know. There's nothing on your record that says anything. It's not an answer to me either. Until you're ready to let it go, which I got to a point where I was like, I'm just done. I don't want to do any more poking, prodding, biopsies, sending samples away, scalp treatment, scalp test. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And getting a topper kind of let me release that side of trying to regrow my hair. It's a personal choice, and I'll never tell somebody to stop trying to regrow their hair because that's your journey. That's not my business. But if you can have something that can give you a mental break from the nose that you're probably going to get for everything you think that they're like, okay, they diagnosed me with this. I'm going to take this pill. My hair's all going to grow back. Or, okay, that didn't work. Like now they're giving me this type of shampoo and conditioner. This is going to work for sure. And then 6 months later, it doesn't. It's such a roller coaster, and I could not take the downfall of that roller coaster up and down because as soon as they would tell me something new, I was on the up. Oh, this is it. I'm just so happy. My mental health felt like it just did a 180. And then the nosedive down of it's not working. Now I got to figure something else out. It's just another disappointment. It sent me deeper and deeper and deeper into a dark hole. And just dealing with doctors who should stand behind you, but just find you almost annoying about it because it's not a rash on my arm that I can show you and we can put something on it. It's something that they honestly don't know much about. And I've actually had a doctor tell me, yeah, we're not really trained in hair loss. Fair, but that's not an answer.
No, it's not. And there are doctors that are. So refer me to one of those. I think we've all with women with hair loss have been through that roller coaster of feeling annoying, knowing something's wrong, having difficulty advocating for ourselves because we're intimidated, don't feel like we're being taken seriously. And it's not changing as much as it should be. In the 20 years since I went through my diagnosis, the stories I've heard from so many women are unfortunately very similar in terms of how they're treated and kind of sent away. So I talk about this a lot about how there needs to be, better training for doctors. Even if you're not trained in hair loss, you need to be trained in compassion, empathy, how to deliver a diagnosis without, spiraling someone even further than they're already going to get. And having resources, at least have some resources, someone that you can refer them to, a therapist, documentation, anything. There needs to be more than just, oh, I don't know, time for you to go home. That's not helping.
And I feel
people.
like as the new doctors are coming in now and they're a little bit younger and they're a little bit more open to things, like I try to work with dermatologists here in the city.
I love that.
I actually had somebody reach out to me personally, but I've been getting an influx of all these women that have hair loss. She literally goes, I don't know what to do about it. So we've worked together quite a bit too. And when I met with her, that's the first thing I said. Please do not respond to somebody and say, we're not really sure, go get a wig. That's not okay. That is what keeps being told to people. And it's so triggering. So you need to just say, here's some information. Here's some people that have gone through it. Speak to them instead of just brushing them off. It's even in hair school, when we're learning about hair, there's like a 30-second period that you learn about hair loss. Well, how many hairstylists can come on here and say that they've dealt with somebody with hair loss? I guarantee you there's not one that hasn't dealt with it. And you're not given any information about it. You're not given the way to approach it gently to tell the person. And you're not told about solutions for things. It's not like you have to start a wig company just because you work in hair. No, that's not it. But you should know that there are other solutions out there and be like, just go Google this. Maybe this might be something you're interested in. Because we're always taught in hair school that we're looking down at your scalp and we see parts of your head that you never see. So if you see a spot or if you see a mole that looks weird or things like that, we're like, it's like the pledge that you tell the client, hey, go get that checked. So why is hair loss not included in that? It's just frustrating.
It is. And I actually do salon workshops now with Vancouver salons and in the area specifically for that reason, because I've learned from talking to my stylist and other stylists that you aren't taught that in school, which blows my mind. Because it's at least 50% of your clients are going to have it when you're working with women. That's the stats. So it's crazy. And so I do those things. I go in and I talk about the different types of like, what do they look like? How can you help your clients actually identify what's going on? Who do you refer them to? What type of products actually are going to be better for them? Don't just give them a hair growth serum. That's not going to work. And then they're going to feel worse about themselves. And they're spent $70 on something that sits in their...
And then trust, right?
Exactly. So it's so important, the education piece in salons as well. And I love that you're working with doctors because that's something I aspire to do too. And just getting more compassion in this space. So kind of branching out in the advocacy piece and talking about advocating for yourself, the wig brands. You talked a little bit about being taken advantage of and that $10,000 wig being thrown at you. So what were you noticing that needed to change, and how has your personal experience shaped the way you now show up as a wig brand owner?
The woman that I had gone to, which is that story, she was really the only physical person that I had dealt with face to face. Everything else was ordering online, and that was a whole other debacle of virtual consultations and things. But from working with clients that have gone to other places around this province and hearing their feedback of, even if the owner has some type of hair loss, just the way that they're treated, and which blows my mind too, that if you have hair loss and you're treating clients this way, you were the client at one point, but just not being able to touch the hair or put it on, being swatted away, like, don't touch that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And as long as you come into my shop and you have clean hair or clean scalp, what do you want to try on and how can I help you? I make every single client, we don't dive right in. It's, you tell me what's your hair story. I want to hear it from the beginning to the second that you noticed it to right now. And then I want to know everything you've tried in between. I want to know every piece you've ever tried or any solutions, topical solutions. And how do you feel about those first? Have you been diagnosed with something? Have you spoken to doctors? Have you had all of your blood tests done? Have you done all of these pre-checklist things that you should do before really sitting in my chair? And if some people come ahead of time too, being like, I noticed that, I just want to know my options. Fantastic. The fact that people are starting to do that rather than coming in and bawling and be like, I need something right now.
Yeah.
To get ahead of the game is really good. And I'm noticing more people doing that, which is nice. But I probably spend 30 minutes of an hour consultation talking about all of your history. I want to hear everything, right? So it just, not only does it help me figure out what will work for you, but it's almost like a little mini therapy dump session.
Mm-hmm.
And for clients that aren't comfortable and I can tell they're uncomfortable, the first thing I do is take my hair off. I said, you're uncomfortable? I'll take mine off too. Here we go. Do you want my other employee to take hers off? She'll take hers off. We'll all sit together. What do you need? And people come in to our shop and don't want to be there. I know. I didn't want to be there. This is not a pleasant experience yet. It will be, but it's not yet. And I had a client 2 days ago. She's like, I held on to your card for 2 years. Wow. It took me 2 years to come here. And she goes, and I'm shaking. And she was an older lady too, and beautiful. And I'm like, well, at least you're here now. That's all I can say, is at least you're here now. And I hope I've never given anybody a negative experience. I've never heard that I have. The only time I had somebody say they had a negative experience is because I wouldn't sell them something that didn't fit them. And she was very upset about it, but I'm like, I'm not selling you this. It doesn't fit you. We can get you one that does fit and make you one for sure. But she didn't like that answer. And I mean, I was offended when she was upset with me, but also I'm like, you know what? That's a good thing. That's a good thing to be upset, because I'm not in this to just sell you something. Yeah. I'm not in this to make you watch a $10,000 wig video. I want to get you something that's going to make you feel better and not feel like this was a mistake, which is, unfortunately, and again, that's why they call it the hair journey, is just because of the mistakes that most people make in the beginning. Yeah.
And I love that you take the time, because it's rare in this business, and that you take your hair off. Because when I was managing a store in Vancouver, I was the only one working there who had hair loss. And so I was very clear when people would come in, I'm like, I'm wearing a wig. And they're like, what? Yeah, this is a wig. And when I did consults, I would take it off, because it immediately just showed them that I understood, that they could talk to me about it openly. And it takes down a wall that people come in with of protecting themselves, which I understand.
Yeah.
But it's so nice. And I'm sure you've seen this many times, seeing someone come in nervous, scared, not wanting to be there, and leaving with a big smile on their face and like, this was fun. I didn't expect this to be fun, and having hope again. It's just such a wonderful transformation to see when you are treated with respect and when you are given options that actually look like you, right? They don't look like the costume.
And just the knowledge behind it too, right? Yeah. Like, I was sold a topper, but I'm like, what is this? What's it made of? What hair is this? I don't know. I don't even know if it's human hair. I didn't know anything about it. And I also wasn't given options. I like to do worst case scenarios because I'm a panic planner. I like to know my options in the absolute worst case situation. And even when I was younger, when I got my topper, when I gotten engaged, my hair can fall out the day after I get married. I don't care. I just want it to stay for my wedding. I just need it. But I tell everybody, like, try on these other solutions, even though you're not there yet. So you don't have to come in a panic, or knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But if your hair loss gets worse, this is why this won't work for you. So you need to make the decision. I always say, at the end of the day, you have to wear it, not me. I've worn everything. If you have questions about it, I'll answer it. But it's about you wearing it, not me. And to just know that everything down the line might change and you still have options. There's never not going to be an option. It just might look a little different than where you're at right now. But it just is like taking those little weights off of their shoulders, being like, well, I still have a little bit of hair. What if it falls out? Or what about this? Or what about that? There's always a solution to everything.
There is.
But you're not there yet.
Yep. Yeah. Well, let's talk about mental health piece again. So I know you and I talked before about some extreme depression that you went through when you were building your house. So take us back to when that was, what you were going through emotionally, and looking back, what do you think you needed most back then?
Oh, yeah, that was the worst. I mean, when I was living in an apartment beforehand, I spent most days sitting on my bathroom floor just crying. Even when I lived at home with my parents, I hid it very well. And I'm always somebody that a silent crier. I don't want anybody to ask me what's wrong. I don't want to talk about it. I just need to let it out. And trying to navigate my own way through it was not the right way to go about it. But yeah, extremely suicidal over it. Extremely. And it's so sad to think about now, back then, how bad it was. And I don't think I even realized how bad it was until years later when, I mean, mental health is a never ending journey. Don't get me wrong. Some days it's not great now, but it's light years away from where I was. But when we were building our house, and like I told you before, when they were clearing the trees and we had the house built, and I was standing on our deck and I was like, there's not a tree big enough for me to hang from. That's where my mental health had gone to. And that makes me sick to think that I ever felt that way. And I don't really know what I needed back then. I guess I did need to talk to somebody, but I wish I had a friend going through it. I think that would have helped. And I wish Instagram, what it was today, was back then. I think that would have really helped. But I felt like I never really did any research on it either, because I felt like thinking about it would make it worse mentally. And I thought that just bearing it back, it would eventually just go away. But if I had just done a little more digging, a little more research online specifically, to just see that I'm not the only person under 90 years old that's going through hair loss, like being so young. I just thought, again, everyone says this, but I felt like I was the only one on the planet going through this. And just to keep hearing all these negative results and nothing being able to be fixed. And well, again, it's just hair, and well, it doesn't look that bad, and you're overthinking it, and all of these things was just, yeah, it was rough. It was really, really rough. And I'm proud of myself that I dug myself out of there. I don't know how I did. The topper gave me that mental relief temporarily. It was still always there, but it gave me just a block of space that I could think about other things and deal with the problems when I got home. But it was even just looking into photos and stuff of just seeing my hair in the same style, because I had it the same way. And I look the same from when I was 18 to 27. It's really hard looking back and how bad my mental health was. And I think now mental health, the stigma around it is much less. So it's not as big of a burden to be like, hey, I'm not okay up there. It's not as hard to talk about, but it still really is. Because again, it's another version of admitting it, right? Yeah. It's bothering you that much that I just don't want to admit it.
Yeah. And this topic is still far too stigmatized, especially when you look at the double standard of male hair loss versus female hair loss and how it's treated in society. So it's no wonder that we don't want to talk about it. And also when you're minimized every time you do bring it up, that it's not that bad. How about just asking me how it feels for me, and actually asking versus assuming?
I don't think anybody had ever asked me, how are you feeling about it? Not once in my entire life, but being like, why are you so upset? Oh shit, this is ruining my life.
Blaming you versus, versus supporting you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to think about now, but it's hard to even really figure out what you needed back then too, because like, I don't know. It's two different things, and the vanity side of it. And then I used to do yoga, and there would be a beautiful bald one in there. And she definitely had like total alopecia everywhere in her body, but she was gorgeous. And I looked at her and I was like, I'm not looking at her being like, ew, gross. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting here being like, everyone's staring at me, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you be like her? I remember doing that too, being like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you act like her? Why can't you have confidence like her? You have more hair than she does. Why is it bothering you so much? Like, and then I would just beat myself up 10 times more, being like, why can't you just do this? Well, get over it. And you can't get over it.
Yeah, we all have to get there on our own time. And I think what you said about Instagram, I'm so glad. Social media is its own beast in certain ways, but I'm so glad it exists for this community in itself, because younger women going through this now have so many examples of women with hair loss living full lives, beautiful, talking about it, not having shame around it. And that's so important to have, especially in the beginning of going through this, to see other people like you and know, oh, I'm not the only one. And look at all these people who are actually doing okay and doing really well with it in a lot of cases. I wish I had had that too. I think it would have helped a lot because I also didn't have any friends or anyone I knew going through it, when it was early for me or really at all until recently, and meeting people, through the community. So, so for somebody listening right now who may be in a dark place like that, is there anything you'd want to tell them?
Just seek other people going through the same thing. That's just what I think would have saved me even sooner. And I think would have just given me at least a little bit of hope that I might not have the perfect hair piece for me yet, or I might not have this, but it's bouncing ideas back and forth of has someone told you this? Is this normal? Is this normal? Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Would you try this? Should I try this? I just feel like having a conversation rather than just therapy, great, do that. Talk to doctors, great, do that. But having somebody that has zero expectation from you or doesn't expect anything from you would have just completely changed my life. And it has now, even talking with people. And it's hard to see really young kids going through it because at least I had those years of good hair and didn't have to think about it. But it still rips my heart into a million pieces when I see an older client that is still feeling this way. And I'm like, how long have they been feeling like this? And they would be like, oh, I started in my 30s. Well, you're in your 70s now and you still feel like this? And they're like, yes. And I feel terrible that they've been burdened for 3 times as long as I was burdened with it. Mm-hmm. So it's just speaking to people or connecting people. And I really try to connect clients with other clients that are willing to be open about it with specific types of hair loss too, because I have a type of hair loss and I can tell you everything, but I have never had trichotillomania where I'm pulling my hair out. I've never experienced that. And I can't firsthand explain how that feels because I don't know.
Yeah.
So having somebody in a very specific type of area that you're in, or even if you're on the same wavelength, like maybe not necessarily reaching out to the influencer that just loves wearing hair. They're not in the same mental space as you are. You hopefully will get there one day, but you're not there yet. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is flashy, right? A lot of it is fake confidence. So to find somebody that is in this community, that's an everyday person, just going through the same motions as you are, that is the best place to start. And I would bet my life that if you reached out to somebody that is starting to talk about their journey, they will never deny you conversation.
No.
Not one person would ever.
Yeah. Everybody I've ever reached out to has been super supportive. And now people reach out to me and I am always going to answer people. It may take me a few days sometimes, but I'm always going to respond to people because I know how important that is. And for them to reach out at all is a vulnerable place to be. So I never want somebody to reach out and not get a response. And so talking about earlier about how you pulled out of university and residency and all of that because of your hair, and you held yourself back from a lot of situations when you were younger because of your hair. So I know now you are very much the opposite of that. You're like, I'm not holding myself back. So what does that look like for you now? Like, how has that changed in comparison to back then?
Even this week, I always wear hair. I'm very open about it. I'll take it off. I'll show you. I don't care. I'm very open about it. But I still feel my best self wearing hair. I don't love going out in my bio hair with nothing. I'll go with a hat or something to have coverage, not think about it. But for some reason, this week specifically, I've gone to 2 stores with just my hair in a bun. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I literally don't care. Why does my hair affect you? It doesn't. I don't care. I don't want to wear it today. It was horrible weather. I just did my curls. I don't want to mess those up. So I feel like now it's just a confidence thing. Confidence comes in time. It doesn't come overnight, and it doesn't come immediately when you get your first hair piece. It typically doesn't. Yeah. It's taken many, many, many years to get here. And some days it is who I am, but it's not my entire personality either, which I've learned because that was what my life was consumed by. It's, I am my hair is me. Like, that is it. But now I'm like, can we talk about like something else? I don't care. It's just, at the end of the day, it is just hair to me now. That's it. And it's a full circle moment because being told it's just hair was the worst thing I wanted to hear. And now I'm like, it's just hair. That's how I feel. I just, it's come a long, long way. And if you would have told me 10 years ago that this is what I would be doing, sharing my hair loss and my bald head on the internet and talking about my journey and stuff, I would just say, you're absolutely insane. Like, that's never going to happen.
Same, girl. I know.
It's
even
weird.
3 years ago, I never would have imagined I'd be doing what I'm doing. It's mind blowing.
It's like, it's really a path you're meant to be on. It has to
totally.
Be. I had this vision of my life and it has completely gone sideways for the better.
Same.
And I never wanted to publicly speak. I never wanted to do any of this. And now I'm like, who can I talk to? Who will listen? Let me talk.
Same. I know. It's so funny. But when you're driven so much by purpose and meaning and helping other people, I find that it's so much easier for me to pitch a news outlet or whatever when I'm talking about hair loss versus talking about myself, because this topic is so important. And I know how many women it affects. And I know how big a deal it will be if somebody sees this, right?
Yeah.
And so when I'm thinking about it that way, it's so much easier to go for things than if it were just trying to put myself forward, because that would be so uncomfortable for me. So that's the way I look at it. And I tell people now too, the least interesting thing about you is your hair. That is not what makes you you. Yes, it's what people might see when they first look at you, but if that's what people are judging you on, they aren't your people anyway.
Yeah,
and
I do the same thing.
One of my favorite songs, it's old, but is India Ari, I Am Not My Hair. Mm-hmm. And I love that song because the message is so beautiful about that. And just, it's a good reminder. So
and I tell everybody too, insecurity, right? It's our biggest insecurity.
Yeah.
To somebody that has beautiful lush hair, they're not looking at anybody's hair. So we consider it a prosthetic to some degree. So if somebody has a prosthetic breast, a prosthetic arm, a prosthetic leg, and you have all of those pieces that aren't prosthetic, how many of those today did you look at? Probably none. You're not looking, but it could be their insecurity, but it's not my insecurity. My insecurity is hair. So just because you're staring at hair all day, every day, doesn't mean everybody else is.
Totally. No one is looking at your hairline. So when you're wearing a wig or a topper out and you're convinced that somebody can tell it's a wig, I bet you 99% of people or 100% of people have no idea, because they are not paying that much attention to you. They are worried about themselves and how they look. 100%. So I think that's so important to remember, is you are not that important to everybody else. You may think everybody knows, no one is looking. So it's nice to remember sometimes that you are insignificant when it comes to stuff like that. Yes. So I feel like I know this answer for myself. Sharing your own story, how has that changed your relationship with yourself?
I feel like my confidence has skyrocketed, for one, because I'm like, if it's all out there, what do I have to hide? I'll tell you everything. I'll probably tell people too much, but I just feel like I've been more open about other things, even advocating for other things in medical field. I had to call the doctor yesterday and I was like, oh God, I don't want to do this. But I'm like, no, why do I feel this way? I have every right to ask this. I have every right to do this. I just feel like the confidence is the number one thing. Since telling my story, I've had people in my family that I've known for years and years come out and say they have hair loss too. And I'm like, what do you mean? There's so many people in my space that are all slowly coming together with some type of issue that they've been insecure about, or hair loss just in general. It's crazy how small the world really is and how small this space is and how connected we all are. And I feel like it's kind of blossomed open, where I've realized that there's a million people just in my area that are going through something very similar, and it's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
And when you tell your story, that gives other people permission to tell theirs, because it shows them, oh, they can talk about this. They're opening up about this, and look how many people are supporting them. I think that shows a lot of people they can do the same thing. And that's important. The more we share our stories, the less power they hold over us. So it's the whole purpose of this podcast.
Yeah. And I hope that people understand it's a safe space too, right? I'm not here to judge you. I could care less what you look like under your hair, under your wig. It doesn't matter to me. But I feel like a lot of people, even though they leave confident, or they're finally finding a space that they can talk and be open about it, they go home and they don't have that at home, or they don't have a partner that is accepting of it. I have clients that their husband of 50 years has never seen them without hair. Not once. Not even out of the shower. Like nothing. They've always seen them with hair, and it's just their reality. And there's nothing I can do to change that. But all I can do is give you a safe space to take your hair off. Tell me about it. What's
Let
going
your scalp
on?
breathe.
Yes, scratching, wash your hair, like do all these things. So as long as I can be a safe space to just let it out, that's all I can really do.
Yeah, we all need that. So I'm glad that you're providing that for people. What are you the proudest of yourself through this journey?
I think overcoming like my depression and like, again, what you said, taking like your passion from a purpose. And I've always said that too, is like turning your biggest insecurity into your purpose, which is very hard to do. And I feel like I'm very proud of that I was able to slowly dig away out of that hole and turn it into something positive and also something that I can like dedicate my life doing. Like I'm never going to do anything else. God forbid this business doesn't go away, but even if it did, I still would do this and I still would at least help people or have help sessions or just everything that I didn't have. I feel like I try to provide to people in my area at least. And I feel like that's what I'm most proud of. And knowing that I actually have helped people get out of that hole makes me feel like $1 billion. Obviously, it's fantastic to know that you've changed people's lives. Just even for people hearing this and knowing that there's that support, you just need to find it. You just need to connect with it. It is there. It's like this little orb in the air. It's there. You just got to catch it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you don't know where to start, you can reach out to me, and I'm sure Emily, you could reach out to her on Instagram, and we can point you in the right direction if we're not in your area or if we aren't who you need, because yeah, there's just such an amazing network of women that we, know now in any area. I mean, US, UK, Australia, I know women everywhere now who are dealing with this issue and who are thriving now and who have all been through a really hard time and have found their way out of it. And so there's always somebody to talk to. So if anybody's listening and is in that place, please reach out. So we'll end with this question. What does shedding the shame mean to you?
I love that you've said like shedding instead of just getting rid of the shame kind of thing, because it's not just getting rid of it. You can't just one day wake up and be like, I'm better now. You have to take it off in layers. It's not going to come overnight. You have to work on yourself. And that's where I'm almost honest to a fault, because I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. It's a journey. It's not easy to go through it. It's not easy to find what's going to work for you and give you your life back. It's not easy. It will come, but it's shedding those layers and doing the first step. So it's taking each one of those steps to not be ashamed of what you're going through, whether it be hair loss or anything else. It's just taking those little individual steps that you don't want to take or you don't want to admit to, or you know it's true, but you just can't get those words out. It's each little step will start to shed that away. And as soon as you're able to take those steps, it just opens up this new life that it's there and you have it. You haven't opened it yet.
Yeah.
So.
And taking pressure off yourself, like you said, It is a little bit at a time. And so if anybody tells you it was easy, they are lying to you. It took me over 20 years to really talk about my hair loss with people that loved me. I mean, I didn't talk about it with anyone, but every little step matters and every little step counts. And eventually you will get there and you will find the support that you need. But yeah, don't be hard on yourself, because
give yourself
grace.
A
process.
Yes. And allow yourself to grieve. Mm-hmm. Hair loss is a grieving process. You're grieving a life that you lived with hair, and now you move on to your new life with alternative hair. And it's not a horrible thing to admit that. It's just allowing yourself to grieve your previous life and giving yourself grace, and it's allowing yourself to feel what you need to feel to take that next step.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you, Emily, for this conversation. It was so nice to have some time to talk with you and to get a little deeper into your life and your journey with this. And I love what you've done with it and how you're helping women now. And I've never been to Nova Scotia, and it's on my list. And so if I ever get there, I need to get over to your shop, because I love the pieces you make are beautiful. And I can just see the confidence that women wearing your pieces have. And so it's really important. And thank you from everybody in our community. I think I can say on behalf, thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you for doing this as well. I think this is just going to shed more light into more aspects of just women coming together.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Thank you for being here and for listening to another powerful conversation on shedding the shame. If something in today's episode resonated with you, I want you to sit with that. Let it land. Let it remind you that whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it quietly. Shame survives in silence. Healing begins when we speak. If this episode moved you, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Start the conversation. Send the text. Have the brave talk. And if you're ready to stop whispering about your own story, keep coming back. These conversations are just getting started. Until next time, keep telling the truth, keep taking up space, and keep shedding the shame.